Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's true. At first glance, a dog park sounds like a wonderful place for people and dogs to socialize, a dog lover's paradise. But the reality is that many dog care professionals will warn you about the dangers of taking your dog to a dog park. On its national website, the Learburg Kennel recommends against taking your dog to a dog park. They talk about the numerous people getting hurt and their beloved pets being killed by the dogs of other well-meaning visitors. On the website for the Association of Pet Dog Trainers, they cite only 10 advantages against 14 disadvantages. Go Pets America warns against the hazards of infectious diseases, worms, and dog fights. PetBehaviorHelp.com also lists more drawbacks than benefits, 5 to 4. They warn about dog parks fostering inappropriate habits for dogs. Now let's visit some of the actual dog parks to see what some of the conditions are really like. Here's a Canal Creek Dog Park in Thousand Oaks. You can see what effect the dogs have on the grass here. And unlike the Camera Oak Grove Dog Park, where some people complain too much shade stunts the grass growth there, you can see the lack of shade does little to promote healthy grass growth in Thousand Oaks. And contrary to what many people say about dog parks being well kept, it wasn't too hard to find exposed dog droppings right in front of the dog waste canister. And here you can see the dog park in Calabasas was appropriately named a bark park. Here's the condition of the grass inside of that Calabasas dog bark park. Now take a close look at how beautiful the green grass is at the Ventura Camino Real Park. This is the actual view from inside of the dog park looking out towards the baseball fields. Now take a look inside of that same Ventura dog park. After looking at these terrible conditions, I guess you could say in this case, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. During the recent rains, you can see the runoff right into the street from the Calabasas Dog Park. Luckily, there are no residents living close to this contaminated runoff. Now look at where the runoff goes from our proposed dog park area. Unfortunately, it's only a few feet from our family's property. Our family has enjoyed living by the beautiful, peaceful park for over 35 years now. To say that the proposed dog park area is seldom used is simply not true. The next few pictures were taken on some of the rare days that I left work before dark. They were all taken during a brief period, just within a few weeks of each other. Here you can see the area being used by our youth for football practice. If you look closely, there is a small child playing in the background. Also, notice how unreasonably close the dog park would be to our house. You could literally see me waving to you from our upstairs bedroom windows. Here's a picture of kids having soccer practice. That house on the left is a daycare center. Those kids use this area to play also. You can see some of the very young kids at the end of the street in the background. You can see the bike with training wheels in the foreground. Dog parks should never be built where there's an abundance of very small children in the area roaming freely. Here are kids practicing soccer on another day. This picture shows some older kids playing frisbee. And of course, this park is already enjoyed by people and their dogs. This area is also where they hold the Fairy Tales in the Park reading event. On the bottom right, you can see a girl and her dog enjoying the event also. Here is another family with small children walking their two dogs while other kids are playing in the background. The notion that this area is underutilized is absurd. This is the quiet, peaceful area of the park, away from the hazards and noise of the speeding traffic going up and down Carmen Drive. You can see in this overhead shot just how isolated the Calabasas Bark Park is from any residences. The Bark Park is built against the hillside on Las Virgenes Road. Here's the famous Point Isabel Dog Park in Richmond, California. It is located next to the U.S. Postal Processing Center, far away from any residential housing. Here is the overhead shot of the Canoe Creek Dog Park in Thousand Oaks, isolated from housing by roads including the 23 freeway. This overhead shot shows a popular Culver City Dog Park built on an abandoned oil drilling field far away from any houses. Here is a Ventura Park isolated by the freeways and a barranca. This is the proposed site of the Oak Canyon Dog Park in Oak Park. Notice how it is in a remote canyon site far away from houses. And even this location is highly controversial, with their park district very concerned about the negative impact it may have on surrounding residences. Finally, compare how those prior overhead shots compare to the proposed dog park site here in Camarillo. You can see how closely it's going to be nestled to the nearby houses and the elementary schoolyard. In fact, take a look at how close the dog park is to the elementary school. Due to the fact that the building is angled right towards the school, the barking sounds will bounce right off of the community center auditorium wall right into the classrooms. In this article on dog parks, you can see the Frederick County Planning Department requires at least 150 feet from a dog run to the nearest residential property line. That is over double the distance that they are proposing. On the last Labor Day holiday, I drove straight from a very crowded Balboa Park in the valley, only to find an almost deserted Oak Grove Park here in Camarillo. There was no one using the dog park at all. If there's such a huge demand for a dog park, how can it be that on one of the busiest holidays of the year, our dog park here in town was totally vacant? In regards to the community center, there are other parks in town that are not this close to houses or elementary school children, but I am sure even those living by these parks would never allow a dog park to be built in their neighborhood. Look at all this open area at Mission Oaks Park. Here you can see a picture of open area at Eldred Locker Park. Here's a picture of Dickstar Park at the top of Carmen Drive. Look at all that area to expand beyond the chain link fence. This is a lot in front of the old Camarillo Library. Here's a picture of Foothill Park in Camarillo. And look at all this open space here at Valley Lindo Park. Remember folks, this is where our family eats our dinner. Right outside that window will be the dog park. Can you honestly say you'd want this right next door to your house? Let people with or without dogs enjoy this beautiful area, as they always have. It's truly a shame that this beautiful hill that stood for nearly 40 years was bulldozed for a dog park. This picture was taken almost exactly a year ago. Now look at what is left of that hillside. Some elderly residences were almost in tears when they saw the bulldozer destroying this part of our town's history. Ladies and gentlemen, it is sad what has already happened. Don't let the park we have known for over 35 years be transformed into this area of dead, decaying grass. We are not dog haters. In fact, our family has had a German Shepherd and 2 Akitas at this residence. Most of us aren't against a dog park in town. We are just asking that the park board and all of you as a community to make sure it is built in an area where no residents will have to suffer the consequences of having one right next to their house. And finally, one should never be built 25 feet from an elementary school where kids are eating their lunches outside. We are asking all of you to help the park district make the right decision. Again, thank you for your time and concern in these matters.